weeks ago at the last meeting, they announced who the speakers were, so I found out I had to speak again. And John Ruff raises his hand, says, I'm ready to do a fill-in speech, and I thought then I should jump all over that. But I didn't, and then Sharon, a little over a week ago, Sharon sends out the roster, and there's John already on the roster for speaking, and I'm thinking, I missed my opportunity, somebody else jumped all over that. Then I come to the meeting today, and John's not speaking, and I missed it. I didn't have to do this. But I spent the last couple weeks trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about today. And Kim Francis sent me a note and asked early in the week, and I was like, I don't know what I'll talk about. Sharon called me a couple days ago, and I said, yes, I'll speak. I got to speak. My name's on the roster. I don't have to substitute, so I got to get up here and speak. But I thought I'd take a few minutes today, and we have a lot of new members, and I wanted to just reminisce a little bit and share some of my experiences with this club over the years. Back in 2011, we had a 30-year anniversary for TGIF, and Jesse was instrumental in putting together the meeting that we had, and we brought back a lot of the old people who've been members over the years. And I started in this club. I dug out my old manual, and this is what they used to send them in, this lovely little blue binder. I dug out my manual, and I started and did my first speech, Icebreaker, in November of 1984. And the TGIF club, when I joined back then, was about 3 years old. And the two people who really started this club, they were a couple, they never got married, but Bob Allen and Trudy Brown. They came from Early Birds Toastmasters, which is still around. And Bob and Trudy were in the club for many years. And Bob he seemed really tall back in those days and really old to me when I was a young guy getting started. Bob was a professional speaker. He went around doing presentations for organizations all over the place, and he was a great mentor, and watching him speak and do his things in Toastmasters. And Trudy was a short lady, seemed old to me again at the same time. And she was from Germany, and she was wordmaster grammarian all the time, seemed like every week. And she would pick out dangling participles and all kinds of English things that I've never even heard of, being an engineer. So I came to TGIF, and I did that first speech in 84. The Icebreaker went okay. And then the second speech, Being Earnest, was the topic back in those days. And I walked up here, and it's typical of me when I'm doing these speeches. I put off. I don't get organized. I did write it all down. I still have a copy of it in here, that speech. But I walked up here, and I was behind the lectern, and I had a little 3x5 note card, and I had the beginning of every paragraph written down on there so I could do that speech. And I spieled off the opening sentence of my opening, and boom, just went blank. I couldn't remember anything. That little card didn't do me a whole lot. Because I hadn't even got to the first paragraph. And I stood up here, and it seemed like forever to me, and I was cussing under my breath, and it's embarrassing. And if a lot of people have been around, you've seen people that have pauses. Well, this has to be the longest pause in the history of TGIF Toastmasters. And somehow I muddled my way through that speech. And I looked through the evaluation part of it, and a lady named Marcy Harris did my evaluation that day. And she was really nice. And we've seen worse. She lied all the way through. And I look back on this thing, and needs improvement, there's like 10 items that you're working on, and 8 of them needs improvement, check mark right there. And the next speech, this was in January, early February of 85 that I gave that second speech, or tried to give that second speech. And it was June before I had the guts to get up here again and give that third speech and start moving along in this organization. And I was really bad about skipping meetings and have assignments and not doing them and doing that, which gets back to why I will do this speech no matter how much I don't want to really do it, but you get back here, we have obligation, a duty to do that. So when I did that third speech, I really struggled with getting back in front of the group again after obvious embarrassment of trying to do that. And one of the themes that I've had over the years when I was really looking for ways to try to continue improving my speaking gets around music, which you might ask why I was wearing this garb this morning when I came in. But I went to a concert last night, David Allan Coe, if any people are country music fans. And I saw David Allan Coe about 25 years ago, and my girlfriend at the time, I put on my Harley Davidson t-shirt, and we're getting ready to go to the concert, and she says, "You're gonna wear that shirt? Is that really appropriate?" And I said, "It'll be okay, trust me." So we go to this concert, and there was a few thousand people there. 90% of them had black Harley Davidson t-shirts on. And it was really a different crowd, and even last night it was an interesting crowd. He's 73 years old, so the concert was really nothing like the last one I saw him 25 years ago, so it's a little bit disappointing. But when I did my third speech, I talked about Harry Chapin, and it was, "Who am I?" And I didn't say who it was, I just kind of introduced some facts about the person throughout the speech, and I got through that speech, and things have gone on and on over the years. And as Sharon mentioned, I left for Thailand in mid-90s, actually for India first in the mid-90s, and I would come back here once a year. I tried to come back, and I'd come to meetings, and you watch the group kind of continue through. And then 5 years ago, I moved back from Thailand, and I wasn't really planning on getting back, but Karen calls me up. Says, "Hey Tom, you ought to come to a meeting." So started back doing this again. And I did Toastmasters when I was in Thailand, started a group, and I've just continued over the years, almost 30 years next year. I'll make it 30 years being involved in Toastmasters. And I can honestly say that this is, for the cost and the benefits that you get out of it, that this is the greatest organization that you can be involved in. And I look at this group now, and I see a group of people that's as strong as I've ever seen this club in 30 years. We continue to bring in new members, and it just amazes me how good people, the quality of their speeches and watching people improve, and it's just fun to come back up here every other Friday morning or twice a month and enjoy listening to these speeches and getting to know the people better. It's a great journey.